looking at would be the non-homestead rate for Nassau County. So when we calculated both the pilot and what we figured the otherwise applicable taxes would be, we came up with 7 to 7.5%. As I understand it, the assessor is looking at the non-homestead rate and has a slightly higher rate for the condos. Blended, I would defer to Ron as to what the actual blended rate would be, but it's somewhere like 10%. So it's somewhere between 7.5% or 7% if you use the non-homestead rate, and it's slightly higher because the Nassau County assessor is using the Nassau County rate alone of the non-homestead rate.
Do you understand what
My concern is that, as a county legislator, I'm looking out for the county. And every year we're scrambling for buses, we're scrambling for youth programs, and with one vote, I think we can be giving away a lot of money that we need here. I mean, we're borrowing money, we're trying to borrow money. And I understand the argument that something is better than nothing. I mean, I'll just use a very silly analogy, but if you come into my restaurant and you have a $100 meal, but you want to pay $50, you could say, hey, it's more than you had before, but is that fair to us? Is that fair to the county?
Listen, you're sitting with a piece of land that has not thrown off tax revenue for over 30 years.
Like,
right? You're sitting
I understand that, yeah.
in a city that has been having economic depression for a long time, going down, heavily indebted. This is a chance to actually do something for the positive, and so you could gamble and say maybe someone else is going to come along with another idea that's going to actually create tax revenue, or you'll sit with a piece of land that has no taxes, and frankly, a city that's going to be in financial distress because they owe money on the environmental cleanup, they owe money on debt associated with all the carrying the land. So it's really, you're getting something or zero, not what the alternative would have been 7%, 5%, 12%. I think that's sort of irrelevant in the scope of things here personally.
All right, I hear what you're saying. One more quick question. Has the EPA given the environmental clearance for this yet?
One of the sites received amended record of decision, and we're waiting for one more, which it's going to come in 2 weeks, and that would be on the Lee Tungsten site from the EPA, and so they will, no development can start until we have their approval, but the approvals are coming. One is coming, the other is on its way.
And you're confident you'll be getting the other?
Yes, and with it, absolutely.
Thank you.
I also just want to note that, as part of this project, to get financing, we need to get environmental insurance. So beyond the state and the federal regulatory EPA approvals and everyone, all of us looking at it, meeting the guidelines, we're meeting also a private sector guideline in terms of being environmentally clean and sound.
Okay. I just have a few questions, and a simple yes answer would be good for each and every one of them. The area is totally blighted now.
Yes,
You're going to be providing jobs for the building trades.
yes,
After that, there's going to be employment for the people in the community in those facilities that you're building.
yes, there'll be employment from the, there'll be jobs on site and jobs as a result of the spending from the new residents.
So the infrastructure is definitely needed for this.
Yes,
The sales tax revenue, the whole time, one, it's going to go up because of the construction workers eating and using the gas stations and everything in the area. And then after, the overflow of the people living there. So that the economics in the area is going to be improved.
it's guesstimated that the county obviously will be the biggest beneficiary of that, but the county is estimated to, at full build-out, net $733,000 annually.
That's the sales tax revenue.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like a no-brainer. I applaud the mayor. I
And
applaud the
another
builder.
$265,000 annually in sewer fees.
I applaud you. I applaud the builder. and for finalizing this project, and hopefully it'll get done by this body, and tonight with the school
Thank you.
district. Thank you.
Yeah, legislator Bynum.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I had a couple of questions, but they've been answered prior, so I'm just going to go in with this one question. And it's really for someone from administration, not actually for the developer or the mayor. I don't know who's here from administration that can answer this question.
I will take you for the question, and then,
So the question is,
what's the question?
my question is regarding what we're being asked to vote on today. I don't actually see the pilot agreement, and I'm wondering why that's not part of it.
It's
Okay.
not a
I
pilot.
think we have somebody, go ahead, Mayor, who's gonna answer?
You're not voting on a pilot.
So is it-
If the pilot's approved, you're simply voting on a deviation.
So the
Percentage of money from that's going to be allocated to you. That's all you're voting on.
So the master tax agreement, is that the actual document that will be used for this vote?
No, the master tax agreement is in fact the document by which the pilot's going to be paid. What is before you today is the allocation of those payments. You need to approve that they get allocated in a way other than taxes would be.
Okay, I just need to know exactly what document we were using as the final to be voted on today. I appreciate the answer. And is it that we're waiting from someone from the assessor's office to speak to Legislator Curran's earlier question? I understand your answer to it earlier, but I'm hoping that someone from administration is going to come down and further elaborate.
I think that's my understanding is that there's an issue not with respect to the 6.4%, which we would be agreeing upon, but there's an issue as to the number that we should be getting.
Right.
So there's indication that 7.4.2% is what's been represented to us as the number that the county should be getting, and we just have to confirm that that is an accurate number. Because we obviously want to know exactly, the scope of what we should be getting as opposed to what we will be getting.
That was my earlier question that was answered by these individuals, but I think as a body, we should have that answer from the assessor.
You are correct.
All right, thank you.
All right, okay, and now we have legislator Muscola.
Yeah, so someone could answer this. It's just a general overview of this entire legislation. Just confirm that what we are doing, if we were to pass this, is basically passing a contingent approval. That contingency being all of the other bodies which have to pass upon this before this would actually be implemented as law. Is that correct?
Yes.
So even if we pass this today, if the other pieces don't all fall into place, what we're doing here really is not going to have any effect of law.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's already been approved by the city and the library. Hopefully you will, and then the school will be next, either tonight or within 1 or 2 days after that.
And also basically the EPA.
Well, that, yeah,
That-
can't build without that, yes.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the public to speak. Let's go.
All right. Mayor Kennedy?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to address the legislature.